the five senses are the current channels of obtaining happiness or misery. The number one sense organ is the sense of sight, your ability to see. The number two sense organ is the sense of sound, the ability to hear. The number three sense organ is the ability to taste. And the number four is the sense of smell. And number fifth is the sense of touch. Sight and sound alone are a very, very great source of pleasure. If the sight is good, you are happy. If the sight is bad, you are sad and miserable. Sound itself can either create enjoyment or happiness, or it can create misery or suffering. And then, should we talk about taste? Imagine you don't have a taste. You don't know how chicken tastes like. You don't know how shawarma tastes like. You don't know how sugar, salt are all the same thing. Whether they put bitter leaf or they put anything, there is no difference for you. Now, when you get something that have a good sense of taste, you know, that is why I believe that we'll still eat in heaven. Because taste, sometimes you don't eat because you are hungry. You eat for pleasure. Why do you get popcorn when you are watching movies? You are not eating popcorn because you are hungry. It's pleasure you want to give yourself. You want to give yourself happiness. As there are some people, anytime they are sad, you give them food, their soul ends. Some people eat food just to be happy. When I was a small boy, the day my mother cooked rice and stew, I will be happy for no reason. If I know it's rice and stew, they are cooking that. You will just see me happy. I don't know what is making me happy. I will just be joyous. Because today is rice and stew that they are cooking at home. It's my favorite. So food naturally, even not for the sake of hunger, food gives happiness. It's different. And when you get a bad food, it brings sorrow and depression. Have you gone to a point where you eat the same food over and over again? Seeing the food will get you tired. If you think it's the same food you eat, have you gone back home and there is that particular food you don't like? And then you go and they ask, which soup did they cook? They say this one, say not again. Not again. I've seen people that refuse to eat at home because of a particular food. Now, me personally, there are soups I like cooker. Some people like cooker very well, but me, I once traveled. I think when I started my work with a company, I went to Damatu. Somebody I know on campus insisted that, please, I want you to drop in our family so that we will bless our home. I wanted to stay in the hotel, but the person insisted, my parents and everybody. So reluctantly, I agreed and went to the house. And when I went that night, when they served food, it was swallow and cooker. And you know, you are a visitor, you can't refuse the food they give you. I have never known eating is very difficult until that day. That was work. Eating that food was a heavy work. And you know, you have to eat a large portion so that they won't feel you didn't eat as much. Jesus, I suffer. So, food can either bring you happiness or it can also contribute and bring you sorrow. And then let's talk about taste, smell as well. You hear good smell. Have you ever gone past near soak away? And the moment you just pass, you close your nose and everything. Why? Because that bad smell is producing what? Misery to you. But when you get good aroma, you say, this. Now, it can either make, in fact, do you know even your mood can be affected by the kind of smell? That is why those days in worship, they burn incenses. If people burn incense to God, even God perceive the good aroma. God will not even give you the ability to smell if He doesn't have the ability to smell. For God to give you the ability to perceive aroma, it means everything you have, remember, it came from Him. So whatever you are capable of doing, you should know He's capable of doing that even more. And then if we put the sense of smell aside, there is also the sense of touch, feelings. You know, one of the things, have you ever tried to bath with warm water in the cold weather? Is that not, for me, that is one of my favorite things of the, I used to say I like to get a jacuzzi and then the water is warm and then you get inside and get some good snacks and it's just enjoy, be happy, Somebody is a minister of enjoyment. Just, stay in there and, I just feeling, I remember when I was in KB, KB is very hot. So after, being cooked by the heat, one evening I was just coming out and there was this cool breeze. The breeze was saying, La Kruma Sabala, God, I started worshiping God. Just for the glory of enjoying the glory of the breeze. I was like, ah, God, thank you for creating me with the ability to enjoy what a cool breeze. You know, some people are waiting for, you know, the big things of life before they can be happy. You can actually find happiness even in the smallest things and the smallest blessings. You know. So these 5 sense organs are our primary source of either getting happiness or getting misery. You get a good, somebody pat you, you know, a gentle touch, you feel happy. They use a needle and they pin you, they took you there, you feel pain and you feel misery. Now, please, I want you to remember this very well. All these 5 sense organs are all sources of happiness or misery. Now, the same way, there is another source of happiness that is aside the sense organ. Do you know what it is? It is your mind. If you do something and you achieve a great thing, what happens? You feel good about yourself. It produces happiness and joy inside you. If you do bad and you make a bad mistake and you start regretting that thing you do, what does it generate? Pain and misery. You know, just the pain of regret, that was the pain that drove Judas Iscariot into going to go and hang himself. Nobody was torturing him with anything. Just the torture that he was torturing. You know, you can become your own tormentor. You can talk. That is why we are oftentimes our greatest enemy. A man prayed and said, God, show me the enemy that destroyed my soul. He prayed after long hours of prayer. They finally came out behind the enemy finally came out behind the curtain. Lo and behold, it was himself. He thought it was not in the village that was the enemy. It was himself that actually appeared behind him. Just the pain and torture of regret was what drove Judas Iscariot into going to go and hang himself. Now in hell, all these senses will become channels of misery. Some people think hell, you will only be tormented by the fire. No. The fire is just a torment for the sense of touch. There are other sources of torment, the sense of taste. That is why there is hunger, there is thirst. Thirst, to a certain extent, the guy was only looking for a drop of water to quench the thirst. That is another source of torture and torment. But it's not just ending there. Even they said there is no good smell in hell. Yeah. There are no good, you won't smell anything nice. The smell that is coming out of that grave is enough to touch, render you miserable for eternity. And then apart from that, the things you will see will not bring you good pleasure. You won't see anything that will delight your soul in hell. Everything that comes through your eyes will be sources of terror. Have you ever had nightmares that make you to be afraid of sleeping? There are level of nightmares you have that every time evening is coming like this, your mind will start beating. Because you know your nights are not nice. It is from one nightmare to another. Either you see all kinds of creatures, snakes, vipers and everything. You wake up, your whole body is agitated and afraid. In hell, you will not see anything that is going to bring, pleasure to you. Everything you see will only be a source of misery and a source of agony to you. And then there is another source of torture in hell. That is what you hear from your ears. Just as good music brings happiness, you will hear only sounds that would increase your agony. Your misery. So all the 5 sense organs will be tools of torture and pain, and then finally you are now left with your conscience. You had the gospel, you refuse to listen. You had the truth. That one alone, even if they remove all the torture from the sense organ, your conscience is enough to render you perfectly miserable for eternity. Your conscience will now remind you when Daddy used to preach every time you come here, and you will do as if he is just making noise. At that time, you have enough time to remember all the sermons. Now you will think you have forgotten some of the sermons that have been preached. Then you don't have anything to do. So you have all the time to remember all. You will remember everything from the milk you started sucking when you were a child. You have enough time to remember it. You have enough time to remember all the preachers you have met all through your life cycle. You will have enough time to remember it. You will remember, you even remember the way they were moving because you were not doing anything. You are just left with yourself and your thoughts and misery and agony for the whole of eternity. You will remember all of that. And all these things will become sources of pain, perfectly rendering you miserable. And the good side of it is that for those that will be in the land of happiness and felicity, they won't just have the same 5 sense organs to bring them happiness. There will be more sense organs, more than the 5. Now we only know about the 5 sense organs. Because remember, the Bible says we will be given a new body, a resurrection body. Remember that. That's why the Bible is telling you, when we wake up in the resurrection, say there is the glory of the sun, there is the glory of the moon, there is the glory of the stars, and even the stars, they differ from each other in glory. When we wake up in the new resurrection body, the bodies will not be the same. Your body will look like the amount of effort and energy. Other people are going to go and do evangelism. You are busy eating chicken at home. You think you and them will look the same when you get to heaven. Remember Daniel 12 said, multitude that sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to life and others to shame and everlasting contempt. They that are wise will shine like the brightness of the firmament, and they that lead many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever. And seeing the stars, you know, even the stars, they have different glory. When we wake up in the resurrection morning, the glories will be different. Somebody that you see on earth and you think the person is ugly, when you see the person in the real glory there, the beauty, if you see them with this physical body, you will need to look for something to cover your eyes because of the glory that will be emanating from their body. Because of the effort, the energy. They have invested the whole of their time, effort, and energy in serving the peoples of the kingdom. And for you, what were you doing? Squandering every opportunity into gaining pleasure and happiness for yourself.